All right, here we go. Rob Graybo and Dean Robbins would disagree if you were to say to them that young voters are disaffected. The Gonzaga University seniors have put together What We Think. It's a book. It's essays and poems from college students around the country. Rob and Dean are joining us now from Seattle. Hey guys, thanks for being with us.
Hey Rick.
Hey, how are you doing? Anybody ever tell you look alike? Trying to do that?
It's an accident, yeah.
Actually, one of you is a Republican, the other one's a Democrat, right?
That's right.
I'm a Republican.
I'm on the left, and I am the liberal.
Oh, we already have a show like that, so if you're shilling for that, forget about it. But
Hannity?
Let me ask you this. About 30, 40 years in this country since we've seen the majority of young people go out and vote. They did it, I think, only once in the last 30 or 40 years. Do you think it'll be different this time around?
I think preliminarily, we've already found out that it's going to be. I think pre-registered voters have, in our demographic, are 87% right now. And this is a self-poll, but I think it's indicative of the fact that 18 to 24-year-olds are going to turn out in record numbers this year. And I think it's pretty remarkable considering that there are 34 million who ultimately have the potential to adjudicate the outcome of the election.
Well, Howard Dean said this morning on American Morning, I don't know if you heard him, but he said, you know what, if young people go out and vote, I think we've got a real good chance of winning. You agree with him, Dean?
Well, I don't know if I agree with him. I think the message he was trying to send is that our votes do matter, and I think that's the important message. I think it's hard to tell what the outcome would be if we all went out and voted. I think that's impossible, but I think his message is great.
There was a statistic recently that said despite the fact that the Bush administration and George Bush himself has said many times now there's no way we're going to reinstitute the draft, that there's still a majority of young people who believe it will happen. Is that one of the reasons you think they're going to go out to the polls?
I think that's a great question, because when we were putting together this book, we actually got a lot of submissions on the draft. I think a lot of people our age will go out to vote in regards to that issue. That is a major concern. In recent weeks, we've heard that that's just a rumor on the internet, that the Bush campaign has said that's just a rumor on the internet and doesn't even deserve the credibility to be addressed. But I think it should be addressed. I think it should be discussed, even if it isn't a possibility.
Why? Because there's so much going on over there, people just feel it's bound to happen?
Well, I think in compiling what we think right now, of the deaths thus far in Iraq, over half are from our demographic, and so I think people of our age group definitely have a concern about the war on terror and the ongoing war in Iraq.
Gotcha. Now let's do this. A couple of stories we took out of the newspaper headlines today. I'm going to throw them at you. Tell me how young people are going to be affected or will react to this. First, Bill Clinton comes out and he's going to be stumping with John Kerry today.
Right. I think that's well, Republican speaking, I think he's going to be stealing the spotlight a little bit from John Kerry. I think that the Clintons have done that in the last several years, kind of stolen the spotlight of the Democratic campaign.
Rob, to you before we run out of time, so you both get a chance to get in on this.
I think he's one of the craftiest politicians in the history probably of the country, and I think there is a potential that he could overshadow Kerry, but I think he's a tremendous spokesman for the campaign as well.
380 tons of weapons apparently left unguarded. Big controversy today, going to be touched by both sides. Young people will react how?
I think there will again be growing concern as to these weapons and where they came from and such.
Will young people blame the Bush administration for this, Dean?
I don't think so. I think half will. I think half won't.
You're a Republican, aren't you? Rob, over to you.
Yeah, I think there's an inclination that the ones who are predisposed to do so will do it, and the ones who aren't probably won't.
That's great. Guys, you're wonderful. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it. The book is called What We Think, Young Voters Speak Out. Rob and Dean, two young fellas there who look alike. Darren, over to you.
Look alike but think differently, and they're out there getting people stirred up. So good for them.